everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and I have a cross stitch tip for you. So let's get started. I'm going to try to take the mystery out of Aida cloth. So you may be confused by how it's packaged and what all that information means on the package. So here is some different ones, and this one is made by Jan Lynn. And then there's some that's made by DMC. Now, they're not the only manufacturers, there's many others. The Aida cloth comes in a variety of colors. This is just some of them. So you'll have white, cream, this little darker beige color, and this is kind of, I call it seafoam, a bluish green. Now, you'll see the word count on there, and you'll see like 11 count, 16 count, 20 count. So I'm going to show you what all of that means. Here is some Aida cloth that you don't see really often as far as being sold in the stores. This particular Aida cloth came in a kit I bought many years ago. I still haven't done the project yet, but I will. It's on my list of things to do. So what all of this means is that you have all these little holes, these little squares, and so every square is one stitch basically. So when you see something that says 6 count, that means there's 6 squares per inch. Here is 11 count. Now often I will tell beginners, start with 11 count or 14 count, and I'll show you that in a moment. So it's real easy to see the holes. So if you have a problem with your eyesight, even with your glasses you're having a difficult time seeing holes, then I would work with either the 11 count or 14 count. Now what the word count means, okay, so many stitches per inch, but the larger the number, the smaller the squares are on your Aida cloth. So now here is a 14 count. A little bit harder to see the holes because the weave is much tighter. And now here is a 16 count, and that's even tighter yet. So again, the larger the count number, the smaller and tighter the weave is. And the smaller the number is, that means it's a much bigger square and a lot easier to see. Before you start stitching on your Aida cloth, it's really important that you bind the edges in some way. Now if you're buying a kit, the kit will usually tell you to put tape on the edges. Well, I always had a problem with the tape. It would start to come off, and so I don't do that. But I do have a sewing machine, of course, and I use a large zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and I did all of the edges that way. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can use a needle and thread, and you just take some standard sewing thread, your little Coats and Clarks that you can buy at Walmart and Joann, and you just go to the edge and you just go in and then whip around to the back, and you just keep doing that all the way down. Now, when you're using a particular size of Aida cloth, you need to have a needle that works best with that. Let's say you bought a cross-stitch kit. It usually comes with a needle that's appropriate for the Aida cloth that's in the package. But if you're buying everything separate, this is how you should do it. So let's say you've bought 11 count Aida cloth. You would need a needle that's number 24. And then for 14 count, on average 24, size 24 to 26. And then up to from 16 to 22 count, you need roughly a size 26 needle. Another thing to keep in mind is for each size of Aida cloth, it's recommended you use a certain number of floss threads. So in a package of floss, there are 6 strands of threads, and they are approximately 8.5 to 9 yards long. So you get quite a bit of floss in each package. So let's say you were doing an 11 count Aida cloth. You're using that. It's recommended to use about 3 strands of the floss. For size 14 Aida cloth, 2 to 3. And there again, it just all depends on what you're working on. 16, 18, you'll need 2. And then 22, it's recommended you use 1. Now, Walmart carries some needles for cross stitch. It doesn't have the whole wide range, but you can also buy them at Joann's. There's many different stitchery websites that you can also purchase your needles from. And then again, don't forget Amazon.com. Here's one more thing that you can do to make it easy to organize your needles and your floss when you're working on a project. And this is a little design board. And this was in one of my other sewing tips of the week. It's a non-sewing project. All you need is some cardboard, some glue, either felt or some extra cotton batting that you might have laying around. And what I like to do when I'm starting a project is I will thread several needles of the same color, because if I'm doing a large section that's all one color, I don't want to have to stop every time and thread my needles. This also helps to keep your thread straight while it's waiting to be used. And this is very, very helpful when you're working on a project. I hope this cross-stitch tip was helpful to you and took some of the mystery out of some of the products you need to use while doing cross-stitch. Now, if you're interested in other beginners sewing projects and my sewing tips of the week, then check below your YouTube screen. So you want to scroll down to the description section. Click on Show More or the down arrow, and that will expand open. And I'll also have the link listed below for this design board. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.